Welcome to the Paths We Take podcast. I'm your host, Jordan DeSange. Let's hit a path.
Already on the podcast, really. So what have you been up to today and this weekend? Because there's lots happening here in the Gold Coast, and I know you guys probably have some events and everything coming up. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, we've had heaps on today and the whole week really, which has been super exciting.
Yeah.
I guess we'll run through today.
Yeah.
Woke up, had some carbs.
Yeah.
What'd I have? Bagel with some jam.
Okay.
That was my little morning
Yeah.
feed.
Yeah.
And then what we do? Got to R6, which was a bit of a shakeout run. 5K, 2.5 out, 2.5 back.
Yeah.
And a couple of the professionals were there as well, which was cool.
Yeah. I think Izzy from Run As One, the group that I train out, was there.
Yeah. Oh, yep. She might have, or as one of the pros.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's doing the half tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Does she always win Gold Coast?
Yeah. I don't know.
She's won a few.
I don't know if she won last year or.
I think she might have won last year.
Yeah.
The half.
Yeah, because she's doing the half as well this year. Yeah. So
that's
she was
awesome.
out there.
Yeah, so listening to all the pros
Yeah.
and getting around the different communities. I think there was like Hedges Run Club. Yeah. A couple of our Run Club guys were there as well from GC Social Tri.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And had a pretty good setup.
There you go.
Yeah. How about yourself, Geordie?
Flight this morning. Woke up, did a bit of a run. Flight this morning, and then I've just been chilling around here. Had to get the bib, all of that fun stuff. Checked out the so last year I didn't do the expo, and the year before I didn't do the expo because Run As One paid to have our bibs shipped to Adelaide, so I just picked it up from there, and that saved me a hassle really last year. And last year and the year before, so I'm usually a last minute person. This is the first year that I've come out on the Friday. I usually come out on the Saturday, and I'm here by like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. or something like that, and then like quickly to the hotel room, run to Woolies. That's kind of my life. I'm usually last minute everything, so I'm quite impressed with myself this year that I'm on it, really, and tomorrow I can just relax. And I've never watched the half, so I'm excited for that, really, because I've never just sat back with a coffee and seen them run. And in a good spot, I can just walk out the front there and chill out. Yeah.
Definitely got the views.
Yeah.
Being like that would make me completely stressed.
Yeah.
I don't like that
Some
at
people,
all. So
hey, you should have. Yesterday I got home like I think 3:30, no packing, nothing. Thankfully I had it all night, because my flight was 7 o'clock this morning. Yeah. But then 3:30, I realized I was sitting on the sofa and I realized I had to drop the cat off at daycare. I was like, oh shit, it closes at 4. So I had to run across in rush hour Adelaide, drop the cat off. I made it 8 minutes in time. Get back home and was like, oh, I should like do some packing. Realized my suitcase was broken, which I realized last week, but I just left it until I was like, oh, I'll do it eventually. So I had to run to Kmart, buy a suitcase. Yeah, that's my life really. But it puts the fire on me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing that I ask everybody on the show is if the person listening right now had an autobiography in front of them, what do you think that they would read?
What would they read? I would say, first and foremost, about GC Social Tri Club and how that has come about. That's probably one of the things I'm probably most proud of. Building a community centered around triathlon and bringing like anyone from beginners through to intermediate, like everyone's like welcome to come along to that and train as one community. I would say that would probably be up there. And then I guess, how did I get there? Originally I was like AFL background, so playing sport all the way that I've grown up, and sport, tennis, cricket, just sort of like your team sport. And then I went down to Melbourne for university to study a Bachelor of Health and Physical.
Are you from here?
Not from here, no. Okay. Melbourne. That was actually in Melbourne. So originally small country town called Rutherglen, but Albury-Wodonga, people might know. Pretty random spot. And then, finished school, was always like, do I become a tradie or school teacher? There wasn't really too many options in our small country town. So I actually tried the tradie route, and I thought I got into uni and I was like, I think I'll become a PE teacher. So went down that way, and then down in Melbourne, think I had a couple of like injuries from footy, and I decided to transition to running during COVID. And then running might have brought along a couple of little injuries and niggles, and then that's where I found swimming and bike riding, and joined a community down in Melbourne, which sort of really brought me into the triathlon scene, which was awesome, and I'm so fortunate for that as well.
What was the scene like down there when it comes to triathlon in that space?
Yeah, it was actually really good. Very seasonal though, with the winter. But summer, amazing. Like they've got the 2XU tri series down there, which is like your sprint tries, Olympics. Awesome way to like get into triathlon. And then they've got the 70.3 down in Melbourne as well, and Geelong, not that far away. As well, which you're familiar with the Melbourne one.
Yes.
So,
one and done. One and done.
Don't say
no.
You loved it.
Yes.
Too.
No, I did. I actually really did. Yes, but we'll chat. I have a lot coming up next year, so don't know if I can fit in another try, but
if you are looking for some new running apparel, why not support a smaller brand? The Kova House is a brand new running apparel company made by runners for runners. So what I love about this company is that every single piece of clothing that is released has been tested for 4 to 6 months by runners. So it's not something that was just created by a designer and just released. Everything is actually tested for performance. It is tested to last, and it is tested to feel good while running. I'm somebody that is very picky with the types of things that I like to wear for races versus training. And you know, I think what I love about the Kova House is all of their garments are pretty strategic. So you can really tell that they have been tested and that they are intended for runners. So check out the Kova House at kova.haus. That is their website. You can score some amazing gear. They are, of course, a brand new company. They've just dropped their first release back in March. And there are still a few things left on this latest drop. So definitely log in, check it out, and support a small business if you'd like.
When you say you finished uni, was this all happening during uni, or did it happen after?
During uni, I was getting into triathlon as well at the same time. And I like teaching, but I don't love it. I was always curious what else is out there for me. So at the same time, I was trying triathlons. I was doing some like strength and conditioning stuff as well. So my ASCA level 1 while I was at uni at the same time. So lots happening. But I knew I loved the exercise science side of things with the PE teaching, and not so much the education curriculum. Classes are a little bit boring, but that side of things, I was like, this is where my energy is.
Because you get a lot out of, like, I guess now, even as a coach, you get a lot from that experience as well, I think, because I did the same. My bachelor's degree is PE teaching.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So, like, and I do look back, and now as a physio, you do get like a few things learned from there. I was the same. I think I did English as like my like subject or whatever, and I hated it. I just couldn't fathom doing a science or a math or something like that. So English it was really.
I was the opposite. Mathematics.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
That was my second.
Yeah, no, I actually was telling people this the other day. Physics. So to get into physio school in Canada, you needed 2 sciences. I had the biology, hated chemistry. So the other option was physics or earth science. And I was like, oh, I'll do physics. Dropped out after a week. I like every day, like just tears. Like it was the hardest thing ever because of the maths, really. When it comes to you transitioning then to like, when did you come out to the Gold Coast, or what was that decision like for you?
My older brother had moved up to the Gold Coast.
Okay.
So I'd sort of found myself every like school holidays / uni holidays coming up to the Gold Coast. And while I was like exploring he lives in that Miami area.
Right.
And what I realized there wasn't actually many triathlon clubs here on the Gold Coast.
Okay.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah, like there are definitely clubs, but they're like a little bit spread out.
Yeah.
And it seemed that they were like a little bit older or like young. It was like juniors or really like older people, 40 plus.
Yeah, that's Adelaide. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, even Melbourne was kind of like that as well, but there was a young group which I started training with, like Iron Ryan.
Yeah.
He had a really good like young group of, late 20s, early 30s guys, which I trained with. And during that time, I kept coming up to the Gold Coast, and I was like, this place is it.
Yeah.
Once I sort of get my stuff sorted down in Melbourne, I'm coming up and I'm going to start a tri club.
Yeah.
I didn't really know how that was going to happen or what it was going to be called, but I always knew that was my goal, to get up here and start that.
Okay. What year was that then, when you actually made the transition over here?
Yeah, 2024 at the start.
All right.
Yeah, so not that long ago, like 2 years ago, really, or 2.5 now. So
you get to the Gold Coast.
Yep.
What did that look like the first few months for you?
The first few months was, what was I doing? I was a contractor as a teacher, so I was doing part-time 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And I actually applied for a job at Miami Aquatic Centre with the intention of, when I went to the interview, to see if I could get that job, and it was actually a PT role.
Right.
And I wrote on a piece of paper, I brought in, I did like a mind map with GC Tri Club in the middle.
Yeah.
And I presented that to the guy, the manager there, and I said, what are your thoughts if I jump on board here, start PTing, can I run this club out of here? And he was like, happy for you to do it. There's no one else here currently at the moment. So that's how it really started. I started PTing people out of a little gym in Miami Aquatic Centre.
Okay. All right. Was it like, were you specifically triathlon PT or gen anyway?
It was just gen pop, but like once I brought out the signs of GC Social and planted them outside where I knew there was heaps of triathletes and runners around, that's when I started to attract. So it was a combination of both runners, triathletes, and a couple of swimmers as well, because being at the pool, I attracted that across, and that's how we started. And we started with Wednesday night social swims.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, I think the first,
like just one
session.
Yeah.
I believe for the first month or two, we'd get like 3 to 10 people.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes even like 2 people would show up, and I'd actually brought up the session.
Yeah.
And then jump in and swim with them at the same time.
There you go.
That's how it started.
You got to start somewhere, I reckon. Yeah. Because I find that interesting. Like, clubs are popping up in the world of endurance. It's such a mainstream thing now. And I feel like triathlon is the next thing that exploded. In the last, like, running is kind of, I feel like, hit its peak. And now triathlon is kind of increasing. I even know a lot of runners that, like, I run with that are now, like, maybe within the last month, I've had this influx of people posting bikes on, like, oh, any deals, or like, where can I get this bike or whatever. And it just amazes me how, like, that just seems to be the next thing, really. So I think, like, it's great that you guys got in, I feel like, before that pop off, really. Because everybody, I think too, like, with the influx of running, with the influx of triathlon now, like, of course there's going to be influx of groups, really. And I think that's a goal for a lot of people, and a lot of people that want to lead is to start a group. I see it in Adelaide. There's so many running groups popping up. Not a lot. The triathlon scene isn't as big in Adelaide, but there's a lot of running groups that have popped up and that are popping up these days. And I think, like, the main thing for those leaders is, how do you grow? You know what I mean? So early days, you've broken it down. You've said that, you started with 3 to 10 people out there, really. What did those early months look like? Like, how did you like promote it? How did you get it out there? What did that look like for you? Did you have like a real plan, like a structure, or was it just kind of like, let's go with the flow and see where it goes?
Interesting question. In my head, I knew that by using the power of Instagram and social media and actually just having physical signs at Miami Aquatic Centre, because I knew there was always like people flying in and out. And at that time, there's another pool down south called Palm Beach Aquatic Centre that was shut and been rebuilt at that stage. So basically almost all of Gold Coast was coming to a Miami Aquatic Centre. So either like the signs, just seeing it physically, and then 2, I just kept, every time we had a squad session, I'd just share it, and then I'd tag absolutely every person that was there, and just them resharing that. That's how it kind of like slowly grew, and then I attracted my business partner Jack through that as well. He was like, "Oh, what's this club?" He come from a swimming background where I was obviously like AFL sport. I'm not bad at swimming, but it wasn't like my niche. Running was probably more my niche. Or like I'm okay at all 3. Sorry, but not like a gun.
That's what you need in triathlon.
Whereas, definitely. And Jack was like the expert with the swimming side. So I was like, I seen the value in Jack. I was like, yep, he's the guy that's going to keep pushing this swim to make it a little bit more professional. And I learned a lot from him too. So building just social media, signage, and then just people slowly come along, and consistency. Like I don't think I would have missed a Wednesday night in 2 years. We moved that Wednesday night to a Monday night, just so then we introduced a running session, Thursday thresholds. So we wanted to split those 2 up. And once that came along, that's when the club really started to pop off.
Going from athlete to coach, what does that look like? Like, what are the differences there?
For me, it was probably a little bit easier to transition due to that teaching background. Like, I'm sure you're the same. Like, teaching HPE crosses over hugely with coaching. So being comfortable to speak in front of like big groups really does help. So I think the transition was actually quite, like, not easy, but it was quite smooth just because I had that background. Whereas someone that may not have like the PE background, it can take a little bit more time to get comfortable in front of groups.
What do you think, like, what kind of skill do you think that you as a coach, because I think I find this question interesting, because I think like coaches do bring certain skills to the table that, you know, non-coaches or people that try to coach, and no shade to anybody, but like, I think it's a learned skill, really. And some people have it, some people don't. But what kind of things do you think a coach has, really? Because I think like you do have to be, for example, like very not selfish. Like, you have to be selfless, really. That's one thing. And I know like when you have an athlete, for example, who might be at the top of the level, but then they're trying to coach on top of that, sometimes like I've seen that not work a lot of the times, really, because you don't have that opportunity to be selfless in a sense, because you have to perform as well. But like, what do you think you as a coach bring to the table when it comes to the community that you have?
Great question. And some of the, while you were speaking about that, like sacrificing is, it's definitely there. You've just got to, sometimes it's tough because you don't want to sacrifice your own abilities in training, but it definitely, it happens at times just because like different events come up. You want to actually see athletes perform. So like, I know normally I would probably sacrifice my Saturday, like for tomorrow, and watch the half marathon to then make sure all my guys are all sweet and good to go. And sometimes you're really busy like building their plans out, calling them, that you actually forget about your own plan, and knowing specifically what you're actually doing. But things that it's a good question. What do I bring as a coach? I always coaching philosophy, or like, what do you think? How do you want me to answer this? Like,
I think like, no, I think like you answered that perfectly, really, because like that's what I found interesting, was the whole like giving up your own training, right? Because I think that's something that we talk about, balance, and we have to balance everything. But then you have someone like yourself who has also, like, technically it's a business, right? You've created this new thing. And I think like I'm going through something similar right now, starting a new business. You do have to sacrifice. You use a good word there. Like, sometimes your own training and your own, that's been something similar that's come up on the podcast as well. Steve, who started Nerd Belts, has said the same thing. He said the same thing, that, you know, when he stopped pro, he started Nerd, and, you know, he wants to go into running all in now, but like it's been a long time for him to put in those hours, because you do have to be selfless when it comes to starting a new business, really. Where did the business side of things, because it is technically a business, like did you guys think of it as a business in the beginning, or what was your mindset around that?
Yeah, so just to probably break it down a little bit more, GC Social Tri Club, which we've pretty much been talking about, that actually is right now it is a business, but it's for the community.
Yeah, okay.
So meaning like anyone can come, all the sessions are free.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's how we've grown that club really quickly.
Yeah.
But we do have a coaching business on the side of that, which is Enduro Strength Performance, which you've been a part of as well. So I was actually growing both of these at the same time. Previously to Enduro Strength Performance, it was Enduro Strength Coach.
Okay.
And that's where I was doing that, the PTing and programming people myself, like a little bit of in person and online, all while GC Social was on the side being built. And then, as I mentioned before, when Jack came along, he started taking those swim coaching sessions, and I was thinking, hey, do I want to run like a business by myself, or would it be better to have someone to help me with both of these businesses? And I was thinking, like, who's gonna be the person to help me do that? And it was Jack. Because he had the skill set that I probably don't, and he's a very different coach to me as well. He's probably he's a bit more like emotionally intelligent compared to myself. I'm a little bit blunt at times, which is nothing wrong with that. No. Different styles and a great skill that he can cover me with. And then, we changed the name when he came on board to Enduro Strength Performance.
Okay.
And then basically GC Social is really a lead magnet. Like it brings in all the guys that are like, just like, sussing out triathlon. And then we get a lot of guys from here that go, hey, I want to be a little bit more serious. I want structured programming. And then that's when they come across to Enduro Strength Performance, and they both like work together. But we have lots of people like all over Australia. Like, you were down in Adelaide. So it allows us to not just be localized with GC Social. We can also coach people from all over Australia. Well. Internationally too.
And I think that's a very smart, like when we talk about business strategy, that's very smart in that sense, because like you were saying, it can be a worldwide thing as well, and getting into it at the right time, really, it sounds like. What did you guys have that mindset back then, that it was for those reasons? Because like I do think too, it is quite unique. There's not a whole lot of triathlon specific like coaching platforms or companies out there, really. I know of maybe 3 or 4 personally. I mean, I'm not big in the triathlon scene, but like when I was doing my research, there really wasn't that many. Was that something that you guys had to look into, or was it just like, nah, we're gonna go full steam ahead?
It's definitely growing now. Like there's a lot of competitors, but there's also a lot more people coming into the sport of triathlon. So there's plenty for everyone, which is awesome. Going back to like why we did that with the Social Tri Club and Enduro Strength Performance. When I was down in Melbourne, I thought I didn't feel a part of a community unless I was paying for it. And while I was at uni at that time and not really earning like a great deal of money because I was learning, I felt like when I wasn't paying for it, I couldn't really be included in the community. So I thought, how can we like replicate that so that guys feel like they can still come to this community, but then have the option to come across and pay for it. So it's not really like excluding anyone financially. So,
and you have to think about those kind of things, really. And I liked what you said, because that's my next question as well. I like how you said like there's plenty of room for everybody, because I think that's a common thing as well. Like we worry about competition a lot of the times, but I mean, I've always been the big believer, like there's plenty of people in this world, like there's plenty of room for multiple businesses to run like simultaneously in the same city. When it comes to like competition with other groups or other platforms or whatever, how do you guys, I guess, navigate that and differentiate yourselves? What does that look like?
As a person, I am very competitive, and I'm sure you are. I think anyone that's in running and sport, like
Yeah.
there's a nature of us like wanting to compete and be
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
We definitely like chat about like, you know, what other brands are doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine because you can pick up great ideas on what others are doing. You don't necessarily need to copy them, but just being aware of like, oh, hey, like these guys are doing this, and that's actually really cool. And could we learn from that and maybe bring it into what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we definitely check out what other people are doing, but but we also remind ourselves to stick in our lane and stick to the things that we're good at, which is bringing in, you know, people at like beginner level through to intermediate. We sometimes, you know, do look at other platforms that are like a little bit more high performance.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, which I love that side of things too, but we want to stick to our core, and that's, you know, helping people, especially in GC social, go from, you know, starter, like complete beginner swimmer. Like we get people that come in and they can't swim.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, I'm okay at swimming, but they jump in and they can't swim.
They can't swim. Right.
And when I see that, I'm like, I just get excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is going to be tough, but I know exactly how to get this person from A to B.
Yeah.
Like with that teaching background as well. Like Oz Swim, you just have to learn how to teach kids.
Yeah.
And it's quite similar to teaching the adult. They just haven't gone through the process of learning.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we definitely check out what other platforms are doing and trying to keep up with what they're doing, but sticking with like what you do best, especially GC social. But yeah, then there's enduro strength performance, which is a little bit different. We want to bring that performance side of things into it as well. So yeah, I think it's healthy to be competitive and try to get better.
All right, you guys, Your Run is one of my favorite sunglasses brands here in Australia. They sell performance-driven sunglasses that look good, that are super crystal clear, but also have some amazing quality to them as well. It is another Australian-based brand. They are based out of Sydney, and they just sell some great-looking sunglasses that can be worn for running, cycling, just walking, whatever it might be. They have something for everybody. Recently, they have just launched a brand new colorway through all of their sunglasses out there on the market. So you can get gold ones, you can get blue ones, they have pink ones. I literally have 3 or 4 different colors now. And I have not been wearing anything else for my runs. What I love about the Your Run Sunnies is that they adapt to the changes in light that you go through while you're running. So when you're running, it's so annoying needing to always take off your sunglasses because you're going through a shady part and then you're going to the sun and this and that. These sunglasses are built to adapt to the changes of light so that you can just keep them where they are and not need to have to worry about taking them on, putting them off, whatever it might be. Definitely check out Your Run. You could also use code Jordan10 to save yourself some money as well. So thank you, Ree, for providing that code. And score yourself some great sunnies. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And how about yourself with like your businesses?
That's like what I find you need, and I think is like something that is totally fine, is to take motivation, or not to steal anything or, you know, copy like you were saying, but like, oh, how can I do my own little twist on this? Like, and I think that's where a lot of people, when they start something, go wrong, is I think we think that we need to be 100% original these days, but nothing out there is original. It's A, it's about marketing, and B, it's about how can you make it with your own twist. So I know with like the Kova House, I look at other brands, oh, what kind of material they're using, what kind of like designs are they doing, and oh, I'm just gonna make like my own little twist really of that, because it makes things like a bit more fun, but also like you have to follow trends because that's what gains the public's attraction. Like people follow what's trendy these days, and if another group is like found something, then why not bring it and make it better? Again, there's plenty of people in this world, like everybody can succeed from it really. When it comes to community, because I find community in these atmospheres and just in training in general is quite interesting. I know for me with training, the last like 12 months has changed significantly. Like I feel like I've realized the importance of community, but also training with others, even at like a higher level, really. I've my entire running journey have like trained solo and have always been the type of person that's like, nah, I need to clear my head. I like can't run with anybody else or whatever. But when I flipped that 12 months ago, things have skyrocketed a lot quicker than they ever have been, really. And I think it's just because of that community, being with people better than you, whatnot. But like, what do you think are some positive things from a community when it comes to triathlon? Because that's what you guys are, is your community. So like, why should people train with you versus not?
Well, you've already almost answered that yourself. Like just speaking about how it's changed your running.
Yeah.
I assume from a performance perspective, it's probably being great in that sense, but also in a sense of actually being with people.
Yeah.
And actually chatting to people and getting some connection.
Yeah.
So certainly like getting connection. I'm a firm believer that running and triathlon, it's great to do a bit of both.
Yeah.
So training by yourself, because on game day, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's you out there.
Yeah.
You're not going to have your friend next to you. Some people might.
Yeah.
They might stick to it with each other, but I would say 9 times out of 10, you get a little bit lost, especially in triathlon, like with the swim, bike. You're going to be out there by yourself. So having that element of solo training is great, but then having that element of community, someone to push you, but then also just having connection with people in real life. And I've had some thinking about, AI coming in and that's quickly evolving and changing online programming and how people start to use that themselves as well. There's some problems with that, certainly. It's not the smartest, but it is a very great tool to use for people that don't really understand, as well as coaches as well, using it to learn and change, bring data in, like HRV and training peaks quicker, so then you can program people a lot better because you've got that data there sourced into that one area, which we are doing, which I love. But back to the question about community, definitely being around people.
And I love that, like AI, because I think that's something that a lot of groups are potentially afraid of, or like coaching platforms or whatever, because I think a lot of people, yes, are using AI to, make me a running plan or make me a nutrition plan or whatever. But I think too, like, you have apps like Runna, for example, which have always been kind of like that, not as individualized as something like I get, for example, from my coach. But I think too, like, when it comes to maybe a newer athlete or a newer runner or whatever, it can be handy just to kind of get the ball rolling. But I think when it comes to longer term training, like, a lot of people miss a lot from creating their own plan through AI, right? And that's where then I think they fall into maybe like a coaching platform like you guys, for example, because they just need that something extra. And I think like it's great for the coaching platforms as well and companies, because like you're saying, you can use all of this data. And I think a lot of people are very data driven these days. I personally don't care. I don't look at any of it, but like I know like my coaches do, really. And that's how they use like, oh, your heart rate spiked like during this, like that might be why you were cramping or whatever, right? So I think like the data is important, and you can use AI to your advantage, really. So it's not really something to be as afraid of, really. But
Definitely.
I think it's great for like maybe a beginner, which is the next question.
Yeah.
Triathlon's popping off, really. A lot of newer athletes coming, or maybe people transitioning from running, swimming, whatever. Where do people, because it can be quite daunting, like, going from one sport to 3 sports, and then like, it's a big time commitment.
Massive.
Like I was putting in a lot more hours than I do now, right? So like, what does that look like for the beginner, and how do they start smartly? Because I think that's something that a lot of people are looking for is how do I start, but like don't overdo it? How do I like, not quit early? Like where do people go really?
A lot of beginners are actually beginners in different ways though.
Okay.
So you'll get some beginners that are really good at swimming. They've come from like a squad background. You've got some beginners that come from organized sport background like myself.
Yeah.
You've got beginners that haven't done much sport at all. So that's just a couple that I've named there. So it can vary massively with just beginners, because I know this person that comes from a sporting background, they're going to be probably a little bit better at running.
Right.
But they may not have like the swimming knowledge to get started. And swimming's massive on technique, which you could be, the best runner, super fit, but if you jump in the pool and you've got no technique, then that's the thing that we're going to have to focus on for that person. And then whereas we've got a swimmer who's come from a squad background, but no sporting background, they may be really good at swimming, but they need to learn how to run properly.
Yeah.
And there's always like little things that I've picked up that there'll be like common things that people struggle with. Like people with the sporting background, they tend to like overstride and they've got that really low cadence and they generally start to get those niggles.
Yeah.
And then a new complete beginner runner will be similar as well. So it really comes down to knowing what the beginner's background is.
Yeah.
And that's why we do a screening form, see what their past injuries are like, which you would have filled out as well. And you had the running background. So I'm like, yep, this guy, that's his strength. What are his weaknesses? These are the things that we need to work on. But 3 sports, I would almost call it 4 sports. Strength training.
Right. Yeah.
In there as well. So that's another 2, at least 1 session a week. Mostly 2 we like. So that's why it's so daunting. 4 different things that you need to be working on. Plus the last leg, nutrition as well. How do you get all those carbs in while training and fueling yourself properly?
Yeah. What does balance look like for a lot of your athletes? Because I think that might be questions that you get all the time. Like, oh, I'm getting so stressed out with work, with this, with that. Like, what does balance look like when it comes to like, you have an athlete who has a 70.3 coming up really, and they're struggling to fit it in all. What kind of strategies do you, I guess, give them?
It takes time to work out what they can actually fit in sometimes. Like it's very hard to get an idea straight away what's going to work for that person without knowing their schedule to a T. You can try your best from a phone call and work out, he's working, 9 to 5, 4 days or 5 days a week. How are we going to fit this in? Has he got family? Has he got other things, or that they have to fit in? So understanding your athlete and look, you've got to build a program for that athlete. What's the point in programming things that is only going to make them more stressed because they're missing it, and that just isn't realistic for that person. So depending on the person, like they might have 5 hours to train, 10 hours to train. We do like to ask the question, is this actually going to be realistic for you? Like you do to train for a 70.3, you need volume. And if you're not getting more than 5 hours in
I felt that.
per week, it's going to be a tough day out.
That's the thing too, like, because sometimes you're spending 5 hours on the bike alone, like, and that's what I felt. Funny, I actually ran into somebody earlier at Pacific Fairing, I think that's what it's called.
Pac Fair.
And we were talking about this actually just then. They were asking me, oh, what's triathlon looking like for you, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, like, I have a bunch of other things coming up. But that was one of the main things, is like fitting that on top of everything else can be quite difficult for people. And then, I feel for like when I watch triathlons or marathons or whatever, like I personally find it more impressive, like seeing those 4-hour finishers or like 5-hour finishers, like for them to be putting in the work on top of like working a 9 to 5 and then, picking up Becky from school or whatever. I find that more impressive than like, you know, the people that finish top 10, but that's just me really. But I think that's the reality of it, is like, you have to put so much time in, and that's just something that a lot of people realistically can't do really. And it's a great goal, you know, like to have a 70.3 done, or full Ironman or whatever. But like, I think, it's being realistic, and it's good that you check in on that, because I think like a lot of people will, yes, I'm fine with it, but then not really realize, oh, what am I actually committing to really? And two, alongside of that, like when it comes to, because not people don't follow it unless you like actually do triathlon, actually do running. Like people don't know really, right? So like your friends and family don't know, so they don't really know the type of sacrifices you do have to make, which I think is quite impressive. But yeah, no, it's, again, you're spending like 5 hours on the bike alone, so you probably need a little bit more than 5 hours really.
That's for a 70.3.
Yeah.
We haven't even spoken about the
imagine
Ironman.
an Ironman. Yeah. Let's break that down. I've always found that fascinating, interesting. I mean, that's all my goal in the future. But what does that look like for someone? Like realistically, how many hours would you say somebody needs to put in to, you know, conquer an Ironman? Yeah.
Well, for someone that just wants to finish.
Yeah, let's say you have myself, who, you know, I am 31 years old, have just got into triathlon, and just want to finish. What do you think would be realistic? And then let's say, you know, I work 9 to 5, and you know, just like your average person, that 9 to 5 don't really have many other responsibilities, so can put in most of the work on the weekends, before, maybe after work, that kind of stuff.
Well, I know you've already done a 70.3, so you're aware of it's almost going to look like doubling that.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Especially if you have a goal of you know, somewhere like below 12 hours, and it does depend on which Ironman you pick as well, because there's definitely ones that are much more challenging than others, and what the weather's doing as well. So like, you can give someone a plan, but it's really a guide, because conditions over a 10-hour, 12-hour, sometimes 14-hour event change rapidly, and you've got to be able to adapt to the situation. So knowing yourself, I know you've got 2 sessions that you can almost do per day. And some of those sessions really do need to be chilled, and some sessions need to be up at your threshold. And I know you've got a big background in running, so that's already something that you've got covered really well, but we can maintain that through, you know, threshold sessions, your long runs, just to maintain that. But we would be focusing on the swimming aspect and the cycling, because cycling is where you're going to get so much time back. Swimming, you need to be comfortable to be able to get through that, because it's really only like 1/10 of the Ironman. So knowing that you're comfortable to swim a 3.8K, so building that a little bit of speed, but like that endurance to know that you're going to get through that. Start practicing open water so you're comfortable and know what it's going to be like. So that side of things, swimming 2 to 3 sessions per week at least. But the cycling is where a lot of time's going to go. Like that can look like a Monday, Friday, easy bike ride, at least 1 hour. Wednesday, a bit of a threshold or VO2 session. And this can change vary to vary, like to different to people. But then you've got your weekend sessions, which Saturday can be anywhere from your 3 hours to a 6 hour, maybe a little bit more than 6 hours of bike riding into a brick session and then a long run on the Sunday. So it's a lot of time.
That's the thing. It's a lot. It's basically another full-time job for some people on top of a full-time job, which is why I think it's so impressive for those people out there. And again, that's what a few people on the podcast, pro triathletes, Steve, Jed, that have said that. Like, you know, they find it, they've never really understood in the past why somebody would do that, but they do now, of course. And like, I find the people's whys so impressive, really. And yeah, for somebody to be putting in 30 plus hours on top of going to your 9 to 5 or whatever and just making your living is quite phenomenal, I think, really. And I'm sure that's what a lot of your athletes really are doing. So that kind of just goes to show like the dedication and commitment that needs to be put in. And I find triathlon quite interesting because I don't think there's any activity or sport like that requires that much, really. Like, I don't know, like,
it's a very challenging sport, and that's why people just need coaches. Like, it's so hard to just follow like an AI or like just something that's been slapped there. Like, things just need adjusting. And I've coached now a lot of people that have, you know, kids, they've got partners. So I always ask them before they sign up, like, is your family in on this? Because it's going to actually take a lot of time out of their life that you need to commit to training. Are they on board? And then I actually ask them, are they on board? Go check, because this is a big commitment. Do you know what you're signing up to? Because I've heard people, you know, their relationships going south because of you wanting to conquer that something that's important to them, but they haven't really clarified that with their partner or they've broken away from their kids. But super impressive when there's a time period and their partners, you know, come on board. This is your time. You're going to commit to it, and they just like look after their kids and help them out with cooking and nutrition and stuff like that. So people make it work. And it's awesome to see.
There's always a way, I guess. But that's a cool thing, really, because I think that's where people sometimes can go wrong is your family and your friends are going to be your biggest support systems, really. And I think too, this is something that also I've mentioned on the show before as well, but like, it also makes it easier because when you are making those sacrifices, let's say you're training for 70.3, like if you've communicated with your support system, it also makes it less of an issue when you don't go out to the birthday party or when you don't, you know, when you say no to the dinners or whatever, really, because they know, oh, for the next 6 months, this is the goal. Like after that, I'm there, really. But like, if you've communicated that, it makes it less of a burn or an issue. And I think, as a coach and leader, it's important to really help your athletes understand that, really, because there's nothing worse too, having somebody come on board and then 3 months later, them quitting because like, you know, they didn't communicate it and it didn't work with everybody else, really. So that's a cool little
and that scenario sucks for everyone, really. Like as a coach, it's disappointing because they haven't been able to achieve what they wanted to, and I'm sure personally they feel like I still need to complete what I set out to do. So
not to mention financially, triathlon's not cheap.
You know? Financially,
so,
it's it can be tough to be able to like, you know, an Ironman is I think almost $1,400 a ticket now, and a half, probably north of 600 to 700. So financially it is a lot, and also explaining that too, like the equipment. But I do believe for beginners, you can start with the basics and build into it. Like not everyone needs to have a TT bike. You can start off with a road bike and see if you actually like triathlon before you push in a lot of money into it. So, and I think that's where our Tri Club gives people a really good insight on like, do I actually like this, or do I like just the running side, or do I want to go all in and jump across to enduro strength performance? Potentially.
Or like, do I just like it socially? You know, like I think people have maybe an idea of doing an event in the back of their mind, but then when you've done something socially, realizing, oh no, I actually like the social aspect of it rather than like actually wanting to, you know, go out and do an event or compete or whatever. So I think that's important as well. And that's probably another, going back to the importance of community, is that's like, I know I run with a bunch of people that run out with the community because like they like to run with other people, but probably don't aspire to like go into a race or anything like that, really. And I think that's exactly, that's fine. And really it's like what, like less than 3% of people out there that want to actually race or whatever. Like
Seems like
out
more
there.
now, though.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Everybody has quite ambitious goals. It's quite cool to see, but
It is.
yeah, no. Where do you think triathlon is headed? Like it's growing. It's not. I don't think it's peaked yet. I think it's like still got some room to grow. What do you think the trajectory is like for triathlon? Where do you see it heading?
I don't know, but I'm excited to see
Yeah.
where it goes.
Yeah.
As you said, I think the trajectory is just only going upwards
Yeah.
from here, and
Yeah.
it'll be cool to see like more and more different formats of triathlon come in. Like we've seen T100 over the last couple of years come in and sort of change the game a little bit. And I thought it was going to be awesome in terms of competing with Ironman, because Ironman's such a like iconic race, and because of that they're able to just pump up the prices and bringing in T100. It hasn't really done that, but I do understand their businesses, and to shut down roads it does cost a lot of money. And I do understand the insurance policies and all that would be
insane,
quite
probably.
substantial. So I would love to like see just more events continually come in, because they're all selling out.
That's the thing too. Like I find too, it's difficult with events, because that's where I think running is peaked. Like I think we're probably not going to have the boom in a long time that we've had with running. I think it's hit its peak, and I don't think it's necessarily going to go down, but there's really no room for it to get any higher. You have events like, was it London that just announced they're doing it double now, Saturday and Sunday, I think. But like, technically that's what you have to do really. Like, because there's only so much people are going to register and wait to get a spot and like not get it. They're just going to find something else and, move over to triathlon, for example. And I think that's where triathlon is coming. I think a lot of people are maybe either bored with just running, or like, are fed up with working and like, oh, I can't get into this event, so what's the next thing? So I think like, it's very interesting, because triathlon seems to be following the trajectory of running, but I think Ironmans are selling out too now. Like something needs to happen really. Otherwise, I think like things are just going to plateau a lot quicker than they should be really. And to get anybody into, activity, I think is the most important thing really. Well,
I also do think triathlon in Australia is growing, like due to like Matt Hauser. And especially on the Gold Coast, you can see a lot of people and young kids now are starting to aspire to be like Matt Hauser. And with, Brisbane 2032, Oz Triathlon based on the Gold Coast, I can see like triathlon exploding here, and probably which then will push into other states as well, because they're seeing like what's happening up here, and I just think generally that's going to grow this area and all of Australia and the rest of the world. But every other country's got their pros that they look up to, and I think social media helps with that as well. So these athletes, they're almost like just influencers at the same time now.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, that is like probably a big part of the reason, because I guess when you have a world champ, when you have Olympians in your country, that's a massive, and I think that is why the running scene in Adelaide is quite big. We have Jess, we have Izzy, and they're quite huge ambassadors. And for them to be in Adelaide, like I know the Run House where I train out of, busy every day with a different group, or like just runners ever, like in general. And maybe a lot of that is to do, maybe I'll bump into Izzy, I think that is an interesting thing there, because you have Matt here in Gold Coast, and I know I've seen he's done a few tours now around Australia as well, and that's probably just going to spark people's interest as well.
Definitely. And then you've got like age groupers too that are like social media influencers, and they're almost just as big as like the professional athletes now. Like, someone that I can think off the top of my head, like Jazz Sloan, like on the Gold Coast, she's absolutely like crushing it. And she's not a professional yet. She'll probably become one because she's going so well. But like so many of the girls in like our community in Gold Coast, like look up to like people like her. And even those type of athletes, are bringing more people into it. So, which is pretty cool.
It's a
power
cool
of
space to
influence.
Yeah, cool
Yeah.
space to see. Really, where do you think your club and Enduro Performance is headed? What are your plans? I guess, and I know you don't want to give too much away.
Oh no,
yeah.
I'm completely
Yeah.
open. Like,
But where do you guys see things going over the next, let's say, 1-2 years or whatever?
yeah. So yeah, like personally, and I would say our, I guess, purpose and mission is to just get as many people into the sport of triathlon and running.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, my mission is to help as many people through movement, and I think that's why I went through like the transition of PE teaching, because I know how massive, the effects of, just being fit, healthy, and around like other healthy people as well is like awesome.
Yeah.
In terms of the way we're going, we'd love to expand, and I'm sure you maybe have already seen we're starting another tri club called Palmer Social Tri Club over in Europe. Super random. Didn't expect to go there first, but one of Angie, who's our operator, who helps us out with our sponsors and just general stuff. She spent a fair bit of time over in Mallorca, and we thought, heck, why not go to Europe? And we've been told it's a medieval Gold Coast, so and it's kind of like a little bit of a transient place, like the GC. So we're gonna go there, and I'm actually going there next week.
Cool. Yeah.
And we're doing a bit of a launch on the 12th.
There you go.
Of July to see how that goes, and we've got a lot of people like showing interest as well, and that's come down greatly to Angie, who has connections in Palmer, and we've got a great local girl there, Leah, who's gonna prop that up. But to just grow the community in different areas, like why can't we replicate that in more places? So,
and you guys rebranded as well recently, so that's another big step as well. And
the rebrand's probably come, like the logos were a little bit old. I'd just made them off like Canva myself, and a little bit old school, and we thought, let's just rejuvenate, make it a little bit cooler, stylish, so we could create some nice little shirts like this as well, and for people to actually feel like they can buy some merch, and it's a little bit more trendy as well, and a part of that community by wearing our logo is all a part of that too. And in terms of like enduro strength performance, bringing on more coaches, and we hope to have more social clubs, and those guys that are at those clubs coach at enduro strength performance as well. So something like that, but things do change very quickly, and we're always trying to adapt to how where we see things going. And you can put a plan, but I don't know, what's Mike Tyson's? Until you get punched in the face, things change, and triathlon and having a business is the same. So just being ready to adapt. But how about yourself? Like, Geordie, what's happening with your businesses? I'd love to hear about it.
Loads coming up, really, when it comes to like, it's really like, I feel like the early stages are the fun. Like, I'm sure you're familiar. Like, when you're first starting out, it's more of the fun. Like, you get the creative juices flowing. You get like to make all of the decisions and that kind of stuff. So it's at the fun stage. And this is something that I've asked a bunch of other people who have like massive businesses these days, and they're like, you're in the fun stages. Like, I'd give anything to go back. And I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't exactly make me feel good to what's coming. But no, it's exciting. Like, that's where I think things are right now, is like, things are just a lot fun. And like running too, for me, the last 12 months, I probably, like, for this past marathon, it's probably been the best prep that I've ever had. And I think it's the community, like actually being out and training with other people is a huge part of it. But also my outlook on training has become a lot different. Like, I would have never 3 years ago scheduled this before a marathon in 2 days, because I would have been so stressed and so on it, really. But like, now I'm just kind of like, it's not, like, at the end of the day, it's important, but it's not that important. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to I'm going to go out, I'm going to do my all, but if it doesn't go my way, if I don't get a PB, like, I'm not going to have like a super
low
shitty Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not that important really. So like, that's where I think my mindset has been the last 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Which has probably made this prep, like I'm still putting in as much, if not more effort with my training, and I still have huge goals, but like, I think it's just been a lot more fun, really. And I think like that's something that I see. This is going to be my 14th marathon on Sunday.
Yeah, wow.
That I've
Congrats,
run.
mate.
And like, thank you.
That's
and
awesome.
like, that's like a lot of, oh, like what tips do you have, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know it's easier said than done. Like, it's scary if it's your first one or whatever, but like, just don't stress. Like, especially because if you finish on Sunday and you don't exactly get your time that you want, like, cool, be upset maybe for 30 minutes, but then like enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
And that's where I think like I've been at. So
that's awesome.
This weekend, like, I'm great. Yeah. Like,
learn from it too.
Stress, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like, I quite understand that I have a lot of marathons under my belt where I know, I've had those experiences.
You've done the
reps.
reps.
You know what I mean?
You've
so like,
reps. You know what to expect.
Understand. Yeah, I guess I understand that's a huge part of it, but I think, you naturally get the question, what are your trips or any recommendations or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, just don't stress, really.
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun.
And I think that's massive for like beginners as well.
Yeah.
Like first marathon, first half, first anything really. Like just remember, like, what's the whole point? Is it to have fun?
Yeah.
And I think it really is like what's the whole point if it's not fun?
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to actually enjoy it. And I do think that the people that go out there to hit a target, a mission, and they don't hit it, they're so disappointed and they don't come back.
Yeah.
And it's like a one and done. But
yeah,
if they can make it more enjoyable by just having the lens of let's make this fun and exciting, then they're actually going to stick in the sport for longer as well.
And that's the thing, really. Like, this whole sub-3 is a huge thing right now. I see it like every second reel or whatever. I want to get a sub-3. And that's amazing. Like, cool to have like a huge focus like that. But like, just like you were saying, okay, cool. But if you don't get the sub-3, like, is it going to ruin your relationship with running? Like, I don't know that that's the healthiest like relationship in the beginning with. But again, I think it takes that experience sometimes to realize those things. And again, 3 years ago, I was that person. Like, no, I need to train by myself because my goals are too important. And like, no, I need to like spend my Saturday, spend my Friday like this, because if I don't hit my goal on Sunday, I'm going to be so... I get it.
I think you had to go through that period.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe you just have to, but I think like that's my advice really, is like, don't. What are some leaving thoughts that you want to give to maybe a beginner triathlete, a beginner runner? What are some leaving remarks that you'd like to hand off to them?
Hand off. Yeah, like don't be scared to give it a go, and if it doesn't work out, like learn from it and take it into the next thing that you do. And if that's with a coach or if you're following a plan, like, try to make it as fun as possible. Like train with community, train a little bit of solo and just like have fun with it. Cause at the end of the day, that's the whole point. That's why we do sport and to meet people and push yourself to be the best person, the best version of yourself. And people want to achieve different things. And if you want to, get your full potential, sometimes you have to go through periods of like a little bit of darkness and that solo training, but your intention might to be to have fun and be able to stick in the sport for a long time. So like it varies person to person, but to have fun really overall. And
Where can people find you guys?
Yep. So Enduro Strength Performance on Instagram or GC Social Tri Club.
Cool.
And hopefully soon to be Palmer Social Tri Club and a few more potentially. We'll see how it goes.
There you go.
Yeah, it's been awesome chatting with you, Jordy.
Yes.
And I love seeing your transition as well from runner to triathlon. And it was actually, I loved seeing you make that transition. And
it was fun. Like, it was very fun, I think. And again, like, to the beginner listening right now, like, I think, again, it can be like, I was quite nervous and it was quite daunting transitioning to somebody that has run at a higher level in the past to being a beginner. Like we were talking about, a complete beginner, like, having to learn how to swim and like having to learn how to ride a bike again. And like, it was quite daunting, but it was fun. Yeah. And I think too, like, one thing that was lacking was that community. Again, the triathlon scene isn't as big in Adelaide, but it's growing. And I think like that would be a good thing for maybe a beginner, is to find that community. So that'll be in the show notes for you listening. If you want to check out your groups, you can head there. And if you're in the Gold Coast, check them out down at Miami. And thank you for coming on.
Thanks
for
for coming.
It's Friday with me.
Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I keep on
before GC Marathon.
Before GC Marathon, exactly. Yes. And yeah, thanks, Brendan.
Thanks for having me.